Hello and welcome back to another video. For those of you that are new here, my name's Mel and I live full time in this Mercedes Sprinter camper van, and occasionally I like to go metal detecting and treasure hunting. But today's Wednesday, so this is Waffle on a Wednesday, where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. So let's jump straight into it and answer this week's first question. So here's a question from one of my channel members, and that is Two Birds in a Van Australia. I rather enjoy watching their videos at the moment. Very interesting to see how things are done in the van life community, Australian style. So if that's something that interests you, then please do go and check out Two Birds in Australia. Sorry, Two Birds in a Van Australia. I'll put a link to their YouTube channel down below. Okay, so let's take a look at their question. Hi Mel, great vlog. Nice to see you are getting a nice bit of warmth your way now. Yes, summer is definitely upon us, thank you. Got a quick question. What would you suggest to a lovely couple, us, as YouTubers get started as a YouTuber? Also, another quick question. How do you hook up your DC power to your Jackery or Bluetti? I know you use one for AC. We are thinking of running it to a fuse box, then hooking it up to EcoFlow. Thank you for your awesome videos every week. We look forward to them. Okay, so that's a two-part question by the looks of that. First one concerns YouTube. What advice would I give anybody starting a YouTube channel? I think the best advice I can give anyone is to not give up. Just keep filming. The more you film, the more confident you become in front of the camera and you get used to talking to yourself. Because after all, I am here completely alone. I'm talking to you guys, but I'm talking to a camera, and it does kind of feel a little bit odd when you first do this, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and I think that shines through in your videos eventually. After all, if you look at some of my very first videos, I mean, I find it embarrassing, and I was going to try and remove some of those videos, but apparently it's bad for the algorithm of YouTube if you do that. So that's why all my old videos are still available for your viewing pleasure. Not that I recommend you'd go watch them, but if you was to go look at some of my older videos, you can see there's a massive difference in my old videos to what my current videos are. I like to think I've improved somewhat over the years. So yeah, the best advice I can give you is to just keep going at it, keep talking to the camera, and the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. I'm actually challenging myself now to try and vlog in public, because that's a real big hurdle to overcome, is holding a camera in front of yourself, talking to the camera whilst you're surrounded by people in public. I think that's my next big hurdle that I need to get over. So keep watching and see how I progress. And good luck with your YouTube channel. And like I say to everyone else out there, do go check out their channel, give them a little bit of encouragement. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. Right, so now for the second part of your question, how do I physically charge my Bluetti and my Jackery that is under my bed using DC power? And also this touches on a question that Philip Lewis has asked. Can I charge my campervan battery and a solar generator at the same time from one solar panel? So to answer both your questions, I think the best thing for me to do would be to physically show you. Because if I try to explain it verbally, not only will I confuse you, I'll probably confuse myself as well. So let's get underneath my bed and I'll show you exactly how I'm using my Bluetti and my Jackery, because I do actually charge them both separately, but they are kind of working together. Let's start off by showing you how I charge my Bluetti using DC power. And to do that, I need to remove my table. Bear with me. Right, let's bring it down here because my charging station is just underneath my table, which I've just removed. Come down here a bit. Let's see if we can zoom you in a bit as well. Not too much. There you go. So this is my charging station where I charge my phone and various other devices. Let's remove that from the equation because that's going to confuse things even more. It's just a little tiny charging socket, and this is wired up to my leisure batteries, which are also underneath my bed. And I charge my Bluetti via 12 volt by plugging it into here, either when it's a really sunny day or I'm driving my van. So that answers Philip's question whether or not I can charge my leisure batteries and my power pack at the same time using one solar panel. Yes, I do, in a roundabout way, because on a sunny day my solar system is charging my leisure batteries, and in turn my leisure batteries via this 12 volt socket is charging my Bluetti. Although I have to say, just recently I've noticed on really hot sunny days, and this is really chucking out some power, this little plug does kind of get a little bit warm. It does get hot to touch. So I'm a little bit dubious whether or not I should actually recommend doing this. Like I say, it does get really hot, so if you do this, then please do keep an eye on it. Don't leave it unattended, plugged in, just in case it gets a little bit too warm. Yeah. Be very, very careful when doing this, because like I say, it does get really hot. The other alternative, of course, is to plug this into your 12-volt cigarette light socket when you're driving and charge your power pack using your alternator. Although that actually takes longer. For some reason, my power pack charges quicker if I charge it from my leisure batteries rather than my alternator. So that's why I use this. So that's how I charge my Bluetti, purely through DC power. I do not charge the Bluetti directly with a solar panel. However, my Jackery I do. To show you that, I will need to go outside. So to charge the Jackery that's underneath my bed, I use two different methods. One of those is solar power. This solar panel hanging on the back of my kitchen cupboard, when I open my door, charges my Jackery. As long as, of course, the sun is hitting this side of my van. Also, for when I'm parked up in a nice place like this, I can get out my portable solar panel here. The one downside of doing this is, as you can see, they do get rather dusty and rather dirty very, very quickly. But that's one way that I charge my Jackery. The other way I charge my Jackery is actually using the Bluetti, but to show you that, I need to get underneath my bed. I think this may be a bit of a mission to do this, because I've got so much stuff in my van. Let me just open this door right up. Things are falling out already. Bear with me, because my van is pretty much packed out at the moment. Now another question I got asked, will I be doing a review on my e-bike? Of course, I'll be making a video about this bike very soon. Just get it out of the way. It's fantastic, by the way. But anyway, let's just put that to one side. So here we are underneath my bed. This is my Bluetti 1000, this is my Jackery 1000. Let's talk about the Jackery 1000 first. After all, that's where we left off outside. So like I was saying, I charge my Jackery 1000 by using that solar panel on the back of my kitchen cupboard. And the nice thing about the Jackery is it's got two different power inputs you can use, and one of those is the Anderson lead, which is where the solar panels are plugged in, and the other one is a DC inlet as well, and the other end of this DC inlet is plugged into my Bluetti. That's why I use my Bluetti to charge my Jackery, as well as using solar panels, which is the nice thing about the Jackery. You get two options on how to charge it, and that's why the Jackery is being charged by my Bluetti and solar, whereas the Bluetti is only being charged by the 12-volt inlet, which is this cable here, and it's working really well so far. And the primary function, or the primary use of my Jackery, is to supply me with all my 240-volt needs. One of those plugs, the orange cable, goes up to the plug socket above my bed, where I plug in my TV and my air fryer. The other plug socket is plugged in permanently to my induction cooktop. So that's what I use the Jackery for, all my 240-volt needs. Now the Bluetti is really handy because it has a USB-C outlet which is rated at 100 watts. So that's where I get all the power for my laptop from. And also the Bluetti charges my Jackery. And that's pretty much all I use the Bluetti for. But it is really handy having that 100 watt USB-C outlet, because I just leave that switched on permanently. I don't have to get underneath my bed to switch it on. I just leave it switched on all the time. Whereas the Jackery, when I want to use 240 volt, I have to open my doors, reach in and press the button between the two plugs to activate the inverter, which then gives me my 240 volt supply. So just to recap, the Bluetti is charged in two different ways: solar panels on my roof, and also when I run my engine via my leisure batteries. The Jackery is also charged in two different ways, using the solar panel on the back of my kitchen cupboard and also taking power from my Bluetti. I do hope that clears that up. Right, let's get back in the van and answer some more simpler questions. Now before we do go back in the van, Mick Walker has a question about my upgraded diesel heater fuel tank, and that is your new fuel tank good to use in Europe? Well Mick, I really don't know if there are any restrictions in Europe concerning these upgraded fuel tanks, or any other fuel tank for diesel heaters for that matter. Maybe one of you guys know the answer to Mick's question. If you do, then please do leave a comment in the comments section of this video. I'd be really interested to know if there are any restrictions in Europe concerning these diesel heater fuel tanks. And I'm sure Mick would appreciate your help as well. I thank you in advance. Right, let's get back in the van and carry on with this week's Waffle on a Wednesday. Can I run a small house fridge off of an inverter? And that comes from Alan Harris. Yes Alan, you can most definitely run a small fridge off a power inverter. The only downside of that is that the inverter will constantly drain your batteries even when the fridge isn't working. So even though it's a compressor fridge where it cuts in and out, during the resting period the inverter will still draw power from your battery. So just be careful you don't flatten your batteries. And I speak from experience, not personal experience, but from experience from a friend of mine that did exactly that. He fitted one of these small consumer fridges in his T4 using just a 2000 watt inverter. The downside was he had to leave his inverter switched on all the time in order for his fridge to work. So what he would do, switch it on periodically to keep his fridge working, otherwise it drained his batteries. Bit too much of a faff if you ask me, but it can be done. Thanks for the great question. Any tips on colour matching an older van? Can't find the paint sticker on mine. It's a 1990s Renault Traffic, and that comes from Jenny Smith. Well Jenny, I personally used to use a company in Kent called Kent Auto Paints, and they supply paint to all the local body shops, so I'm sure there'll be a paint supplier somewhere near you. Just Google Auto Paint Supplier, and when you take your van to them, they will come out with these little colour chips with little charts, and they can actually match your colour of your van perfectly, and they will hand mix that paint to match your van. And if by any chance you live in Kent, then do check out Kent Auto Paints. They're at the bottom of Bluebell Hill. Good luck, and I hope you get the right colour paint for your van. Thanks for the great question. Now, could you let us know what chlorine tablets you use? We looked through your storefront but could not find the product. Thank you, Jeff and Diane. Well, I'm sorry, Jeff and Diane, I didn't put those chlorine tablets in my Amazon storefront. I will be sure to add them very shortly. But for your convenience, I'll put a link to them down below this video. And the tablets I use are these Aqua Marina. And since using these chlorine tablets, my tank has been sparkly clean. But the downside is you can actually taste the chlorine in the water. Well, I used to be able to taste the chlorine until I fitted my water filter system. But more about that in another video. Thanks for the great question. Like I say, I'll put a link to these down below just for your convenience. And I'll also add these to my Amazon storefront. Again, apologies I didn't put them in there. Now this week I made a couple of metal detecting videos, and I want to say thank you to everyone for all your positive comments and all the positive feedback. I was really worried about making metal detecting videos and putting them on this channel. I was even considering starting up a separate YouTube channel purely for my underwater and metal detecting antics. But it would appear that a lot of you enjoyed those videos, so I will continue making those videos and adding them to this channel every now and again. I may even make a feature of it. But anyway, Flipping Fantastic noticed that at the end of my metal detecting video, I rode off into the sunset on my new bike, and he wants to know, will I be doing a review on the e-bike, along with quite a few other people. So of course I'm left with no choice but to actually make a video all about my e-bike. And I will try my best to post that video this coming weekend. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss that video. Thanks for watching this video, I really do appreciate it. And once again, if you've got any questions for me, then do feel free to leave them in the comment section of this video, and I will do my best to answer your questions on next week's Waffle on a Wednesday. Thanks for watching, ta-ra for now.